walk anywhere in the area.
This is one of the ways for training to say that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The way we came on 133, it took us not fence, the directions were straight into the circle.
Because you were going there.
Yes, yeah, it's not, yeah, because that's the,
been a couple of ball games. One out of one
And then the next 2 nights, the next 2 games they're going to, it's the same game.
A couple things here, I think. I'm playing the second base on the game. I couldn't tie it. He gets out, he felt us so low under to left field. This drifted twice to a home run when I was never here. We got a home run. And then he puts it back in the row. See, I didn't pay attention last time. And Caesar's probably pitching okay.
Oh, yeah,
You're catching that night.
you left early that night. He's really good over the cat. He's from the group. Slim. Slim.
Did you show them the Googles?
This was, it happens to me really
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. For a hurricane, this isn't terrible, so we'll take it. And this is what we get out of it. Well, this could be a lot worse. Welcome to, I guess, the beginning of fall. It sort of feels like it outside. Today was the first day that I opened the doors and windows and just let the breeze come through. It was really nice. Some people were ready to turn on the heat. I just enjoyed opening the windows. So please take a minute now and think back through your week, all the way back to last Shabbat, to last Saturday, and think about what was good. There are times for complaining and kvetching. This is just a time to think about what was good in this week. What were your successes? What were new things that were begun? What were challenges that you rose to meet? Whatever it might be, think of what was good in your week. And while you're doing about it, think of what was the best part of your week. So please take a minute and do that. Okay, and when you have decided the best part of your week, please, the most difficult thing I'll ask of you all evening, please get up, find someone in this room you don't know or haven't seen in a while, go over and tell them your name, ask their name, tell them the best thing that happened to you, and ask them the best thing that happened to them. Go for it. Thank you all so much for reaching out like that. I really appreciate it. As you know, the holidays are really late this year. And they really are really late this year. Rosh Hashanah isn't for another 4 weeks. So that means we actually have a little luxury here, and that is to prepare for the holidays when it's not the middle of the summer. Because Elul, the month that leads up to Rosh Hashanah, sometimes occurs around the 4th of August. And I don't know about you, but I find it very hard to get in the high holiday mood on the 4th of August. I'm much more into the this is the middle of summer mood. So now when we have Elul just beginning, we have the time as September is happening, and September means so many changes, to take the time to prepare for the new year. And the prayer book that you have, which is not our regular prayer book for the year, is specifically designed for this month. We use it just 1 month a year for the month of Elul, because in addition to a regular Shabbat service, it also has readings and songs and meditations to help us figure out what we want from the new year. And I say all the time, I don't understand how someone shows up on Rosh Hashanah and sits down and says, okay, make this year different for me. Because when we do that, when we do it, all of a sudden, it feels kind of like New Year's resolutions that we make on December 31st and which we've broken by the afternoon of January 1st because there's no weight behind it. I should diet. Okay, good. Here's a cake. Okay, good, I'll have the cake. And that's the end of our resolution. So when we have Elul, we have a time to think about what we'd like to do with the new year. What is something that we'd like to focus on? What's something we'd like to make better in the year ahead? Some things are in our control, and we get to say, I'm going to try to work on this. Others are not, and we leave them to prayer and say, God, could I please have a less exciting year than the one I had? Or could I please help me to have health in the coming year? There are so many things that we can do during this time. So as we go through this service for the first time in 13 months, please use the words to start this process of preparing for the new year. Page 2. A song of love to God. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, Yedid nefesh av harachaman, Meshochav decha, Eretzonecha, Meshochav decha, La 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 la, Eretzonecha, Yarutz avdecha, Kemo ayal, Yishtachave lai lai lai, lai 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 lai, Elu hadarecha. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, Yedid nefesh av harachaman, Meshochav decha, Eretzonecha, Meshochav decha, la 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 la, On the facing page, a plea to God, please, would you be my strength? And together, we find the way forward. In the middle of the page. Ozi vezimrat yar, vayihili Lishua. If you don't know it, you can learn it. Ozi vezimrat yar, vayehili Lishua. Ozi vezimrat yar, vayehili Lishua. Ozi vezimrat yar, vayehili Yeshua. Page 5. I'll let you in on a secret about how one should pray the sunset prayer. It's a juicy bit of praying, like strolling on grass. Nobody's chasing you. Nobody hurries you. You walk toward your Creator with gifts in pure, empty hands. The words are golden. Their meaning is transparent. It's as though you're saying them for the first time. If you don't catch on that you should feel a little elevated, you're not praying the sunset prayer. The tune is sheer simplicity. You're just lending a helping hand to the sinking day. It's a heavy responsibility. You take a created day and you slip it into the archive of life, where all our lived out days are lying together. The day is departing with a quiet kiss. It lies open at your feet while you stand saying the blessings. You can't create anything yourself, but you can lead the day to its end and see clearly the smile of its going down. See how whole it all is, not diminished for a second. How you age with the days that keep dawning. How you bring your lived out day as a gift to eternity. I love that reading. Page 7. And this reading, I have to tell you, is one of my favorites that goes back to the High Holiday Prayer Book that was printed in 1978 by the Reform Movement. It was Gates of Repentance. We never used it in this congregation. I used it just briefly in the congregation I was at before that, and then it was never in any of the books we used, and I'm so glad it was brought back. So the top of page 7. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. Now is the time for turning. The leaves are beginning to turn from green to red and orange. The birds are beginning to turn and are heading once more toward the south. The animals are beginning to turn to storing their food for the winter. For leaves, birds, and animals, turning comes instinctively. But for us, turning does not come so easily. It takes an active will for us to make a turn. It means breaking with old habits. It means admitting that we have been wrong, and this is never easy. It means losing face. It means starting all over again, and this is always painful. It means saying, I am sorry. It means recognizing that we have the ability to change. These things are terribly hard to do, but unless we turn, we will be trapped forever in yesterday's ways. God, help us to turn from callousness to sensitivity, from hostility to love, from pettiness to purpose, from envy to contentment, from carelessness to discipline, from fear to faith. Turn us around and bring us back toward you. Revive our lives as at the beginning, and turn us toward each other, for in isolation there is no life. We continue with the candle lighting. I invite Tara and Julia Fuchs to lead us. I'm sorry, Glenn, are you doing it? Yes. My bad. Glenn and Julia.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
So light the candles. Front you do.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Thank you. Mazel tov. Page 21. Two angels follow me home, chesed and gvura, kindness and judgment, love and discipline. May both dwell within me, gentleness and generosity that expand my soul, firmness and self-restraint, the strength to say no. On this day of shalom, may I be shalem, well-balanced and whole. Page 26, please rise if you're able. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your great name fills the universe with majestic might. Your word creates twilight and dark. As your wisdom opens the gates of night, your discernment separates the changing seasons and causes the passage of time. The stars arrayed across the sky reveal your design. You roll out the cycle of darkness and light, shaping day and night. You sweep away day and carry the world into nightfall, setting day apart from nighttime. You are God of all we can perceive and all that is beyond our perception. Living, eternal God, be our sovereign to the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. On the facing page, holy is twilight, the realm of in-between. And so our sages taught, pray in the moments when light and darkness touch. We are all twilight people, beyond categories and labels. May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, widen our vision. Let it illumine our way to the God who transcends all boundaries and definitions. Blessed are you, God of all, who brings on the twilight. On the next page. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah umitzvot, chukim umishpatim, otanu limadta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shachbenu uvekumenu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, uve'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Kehem chayenu v'orech yamenu, uvehem ne'egeh yomam v'layla. V'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. We continue on 37. A midrash on the last line of the Haftarah. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. In everything you do, the mitzvot go with you. If you build a house, there is this. When you build a new house, you shall make a protective barrier for your roof, so that you do not bring blood guilt on your house if anyone should fall from it. When you cross a threshold, there is this. Set these words upon your heart. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. When you see an elder, there is this. Rise before the one whose head is white with age, and regard an elder with respect. If you hire a person to work for you, there is this. You shall not exploit your neighbor. You shall not keep a worker's wages with you overnight until morning. If you have dealings with a stranger, there is this. The stranger who dwells with you shall be like a citizen among you, and you shall love that person as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. When you engage in holy work, there is this. Everyone who excelled in ability and everyone whose spirits moved them came, bringing to the Eternal their offerings. Even when you are just taking a walk, not occupied with anything, the mitzvot go with you, for there is this. Set these words upon your heart. Speak of them on your way. On the next page. Truth and faith. These are fundamental to our existence. God alone is their source, and we are Israel, a people of God. Our sovereign saves us from tyranny, redeems us from its violence through countless wonders, from its brutality through great feats beyond measure. We are Israel, a people of God, the giver of life, who would not let our feet give way, the maker of miracles for us against Pharaoh, of signs and portents in the land of Egypt, the one who brought our people Israel from its midst to enduring freedom. Elohim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Noah te'ilot osef eleh, As it is written, Adonai will save Jacob and redeem from one stronger than himself. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Israel. Page 42. And thank you, Shira. I could not get that melody. Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over us your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom restore us, make us whole. Let your name proclaim your presence in our lives. Be our shield. Make us stronger than the enemies we face, illness and war, famine and sorrow, and stronger than the enemies in our hearts, wickedness and sin. Carry us to safety as on wings, for you are the monarch of grace, the sovereign of compassion. You are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us. We who go forth to life, watch over us, that we may come home in peace, now until the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Page 45. Fall of evening, darkness all around us. The 3-year-old wakes up crying, sees monsters in the shadows. And we lie awake for hours dreading monsters that are real. Eventually you learn that there are no charmed lives, no special immunity from suffering and loss. We cannot pray for safety, only for the strength to endure. So let us build a canopy while we can, for the darkness falls on all of us. There is no shelter from the shadows, no protection from the terrors of night, nothing but the warmth of a loving touch, comforting reminder, you are not alone. There are some really beautiful readings in this book, aren't there? Following page. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Lidorotam berit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Lidorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, od hi le'olam, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat, lasod et hashabat ledorotam berit olam. We turn to the Amidah, beginning on page 48, the even number pages. Please rise if you are able. Adonai, sefat vaytita, ufia ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imavot, U'mevei Geula Livnei Bneihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magin. Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, B'chayei hakol atah Rav Moshiach, Morid atah. Mechakel chayim b'chesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Mishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al keturot, Umidom elach, Melech memit umechayem, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chaydot ya'akol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hakol. You are holy. Your name is holy. Seekers of holiness praise you day by day. Selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Blessed are you, the unending source of holiness. Page 60, please be seated. God who is ours, and God of our fathers and mothers, may our rest on this Shabbat bring you pleasure. Lead us to holiness through your mitzvot, and may each of us find a portion of Torah that is ours. You bestow such goodness. Teach us to be satisfied and to know the joy of your salvation. Help us to serve you truly with purity of heart. Let your holy Shabbat be our heritage, embraced freely and with love. And may all our people bring holiness to your name by resting on this day. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. Our praise to you, Eternal One. You bring holiness to Shabbat. 62. Eternal our God, your people Israel yearns for your favor. Receive their prayers with loving acceptance, and may you always desire your people's worship. Divine One, close to all who call upon you, bring your grace and presence near to those who serve you. Pour forth your Spirit on us. 66. God who is ours, God of all generations, to you we are grateful forever. Rock and protector of our lives, your saving power endures from age to age. We thank you and tell the tale of your praise, your power in our lives, your caring for our souls, the constant miracle of your kindness. Morning, noon, and night, we call you goodness, for your compassion never ends. We call you mercy, for your love has no limit. We call you hope, now and for all time. Page 69 in the middle. For the gifts I received today, air in my lungs, pulse in my veins, my restless mind alive and curious, awakening suddenly to beauty, for love and the memory of love, forgiveness when I didn't deserve it, another chance at life. Let my soul give thanks to you. Let me not forget your kindness. On the next page, peace, profound and lasting, all-embracing. Peace, let this be your gift to Israel, your people. In your goodness, author of peace, bless us and all people, every season, every hour, with the peace that is yours to give. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarech et amo Yisrael bashalom. You, Adonai, are the blessed one who blesses us with peace. There are a number of different readings and meditations in the next several pages. Please find the one that looks interesting to you and take the time to read it to yourself. I'm a collector of cartoons. I have an album at home with cartoons that I cut out back in the days when I got a newspaper that had cartoons in them. Now I tend to screen capture them and save them that way. But there is one from a long time ago, a Sunday Peanuts cartoon. Charlie Brown and Lucy are both sitting against a tree, back to the tree, one facing this way, one facing this way. And Charlie Brown says, Lucy, what do you think we're here on Earth for? Or was it Lucy said it to Charlie Brown? Right. Lucy said, what are we here for? And Charlie Brown says, well, Lucy, I think we're here to make other people happy. And Lucy stands up and goes, well, then someone's not doing their job. And as I said, that's one of my favorites. If you look at the bottom of page 75, you have the only sarcastic prayer in this book. But you have to detect the sarcasm or else this really comes out wrong. So we're about to read Yehiyu L'Ratzon, may the words of my mouth, but let me read this one to you because of course none of you would think such things, but I'll take responsibility. I'm surrounded by imperfection. Everyone I know falls short of my exacting standards. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like if all of them were acceptable to me. The words of them, their mouths and the meditations of their hearts. Maybe then I'd finally find peace. So on the facing page, together, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, source of eternity, my rock and my redeemer. We turn to page 77. In the middle of the page is Misha Berach, our prayer for those who are ill. So right now, I ask you to think about your family, your friends, people you know who are in need of healing. And in a moment, I'll ask you to rise and say their names aloud if you choose to. But right now, I also want to ask that all of us take into our hearts all the people who've been the victims of this storm, and the people who are hurting, the people who are missing, the people who are now grieving. And it's not quite done doing its damage. And if you've seen the appeals to help with the Red Cross or other organizations, I hope that you will. We live in both a geologically and meteorologically benign area right here. If you think about the things we don't get, we don't really get hurricanes. We don't really get tornadoes. We don't really get earthquakes. And yet, so much of our own country and the world is subject to these things. And it's not a matter of saying, let me move away, because most of the world is subject to one or another of these. So as we stay here in this little place, even within New Jersey, that is so sheltered from so much of nature, we should really be grateful for it and use that to reach out to people who are in need. So we add all of them to our prayer for healing. Now, if there are people whose names you would like to add, please rise, and as I look at you, say their names aloud. Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Mishe berach imotenu, mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. This is the first Friday in September, and so we invite up people who have September birthdays, or if you had August birthdays and couldn't be here last month, you are invited to join us also. So could I ask all our birthday people please to come up, and with the rest of you all, please rise. Could you two open the ark for me, please? Hi, happy birthday. Eloheinu v'Elohe Avotenu v'Imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, God of days and years, our lives are in your hands. We thank you day by day for your many blessings. And as year follows year, we grow ever more grateful for all your gifts. These people whose birthdays occur this month come before you with special prayers of thanks and praise. Be with them always to sweeten the joys of their lives. Bless them with health and happiness. Bless them with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow. And bless them with the wisdom to learn from all their experiences. We pray that their lives may be filled with good and with an abundance of your blessings. May they and all those they love have the joy of sharing and celebrating in your presence for many years to come. Please join me in Shechia. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu source of all creation, for creating us and sustaining us and for bringing us to this time of celebration. Mazel tov to all of you. Happy birthday, and we have kisses for you. Could you shut this? Would you mind? Thank you. Excuse me. Birthday kisses. And hang on a second. When they go down, everyone is going to shout in Hebrew, may you live to 100 and feel like you're 20. You're going to go ad mea ke'esrim. Ready? Ad mea ke'esrim. 1, 2, 3. Ad mea ke'esrim. Happy birthday, everyone. Please be seated. We come in the Torah to the beginning of the end. You know, Simchat Torah is not that far away. We're nearing the end of Devarim, of Deuteronomy, when Moses goes back and reminds the people of a lot of the things that he was trying to teach them throughout all the years. And this portion, Shoftim, talks about what he wants people to set up for courts and judges and things like that in the land they're going into. And I just want to share with you two very, very brief quotes that as I read them and actually decided on this back in July. I don't remember which scandal it was that brought it to mind. It's so hard to keep them straight. And I think this one was Purdue Pharma, the family that has basically, it's quite an accomplishment, single-handedly created the opioid epidemic in the United States. And we got a little hint of how many politicians they have paid off along the way to be allowed to do this. But you could pretty much pick the scandal du jour, whichever one of you're choosing. And when we trace it back, we see, as always, it comes back to money. And you look at the simple instruction in the Torah and think how useful this would be if we took this seriously. I just want to share these lines with you. You shall appoint magistrates and officials for your tribes in all the settlements that the Eternal your God is giving you, and they shall govern the people with due justice. You shall not judge unfairly. You shall show no partiality. You shall not take bribes, for bribes blind the eyes of the discerning and upset the plea of the just. Justice, justice shall you pursue, that you may thrive and occupy the land that the Eternal your God is giving you. And jumping just a little bit ahead, if after you have entered the land that the Eternal your God has assigned to you, and taken possession of it and settled in it, you decide, I will set a king over me, and do as all the nations about me do. You shall be free to set a king over yourselves, one chosen by the Eternal your God. Be sure to set as king over yourself one of your own people. You must not set a foreigner over you, one who is not your kin. Moreover, he shall not keep many horses, or send people back to Egypt to add to his horses. Since the Eternal has warned you, you must not go back that way again. And he shall not have many wives, let his heart go astray, nor shall he amass silver and gold to excess. A couple of years ago, when the Supreme Court ruled in Citizens United, it said that corporations were basically free to contribute to campaigns however they wanted, that the rules that apply to people don't apply to corporations. And we, as if we needed that. There is not a congressperson. There is not a senator. There is not a person in the executive that is not beholden to people with money. And this isn't about Republican, Democrat. This is across the spectrum. Because a candidate who says, I'm not taking large contributions, doesn't get very far. We see this. And amazingly, in several cases, the Supreme Court has ruled that these things do not constitute bribery. Our own Senator Menendez, with whom I agree on a number of things, was acquitted of charges that he took bribes when his friend gave him gifts and vacations, and the fact that Senator Menendez voted in favor of things that would enrich his friend, the court said was purely coincidence. Now, I don't know about you, but if someone gives me $1 million that asks me for a favor, at the very least, I'm going to consider that favor very carefully. Now, I probably would not break any laws to do them a favor, but I'd probably go fairly out of my way to say thank you for $1 million or whatever it might be. I was surprised and I was disappointed by the Supreme Court's rulings on those, because it's as if they said that no, it's fine, there's no undue influence of money in our country right now. And yet we know there is. And the Torah knew it. Listen to this line. Bribes blind the eyes of the discerning. The most discerning, the most wise are blinded by bribes. Let's be fair, it really is quite the idealist who can either say no to that kind of money in most any circumstance, and it upsets the plea of the just. You have to wonder, why is it that the lead crisis, the lead in the water, never affected Short Hills? Anyone have any guesses why that is? What was that? That's where the rich people live. Surprising, isn't it? I'm sure it's a pure coincidence that Flint, Michigan, Newark, New Jersey, are the places where this is going on, and people are discovering it and saying, gee, we should somehow, someday get around to replacing these pipes. Why? Well, let's be clear. Because money talks. What would happen if we found out that our pipes, whichever town you live in, that our pipes were feeding lead into our water? Think about it for a minute. We find this out tomorrow. How long do you think it will be before our pipes are replaced? Actually, before they dig up the streets and replace our pipes. Anyone want to bet it's going to be more than a year? No takers? Good. It'd be a lousy bet. We wouldn't accept it. And it doesn't mean that any of us is wealthy, but we have enough money to make our voices heard. And we darn well would make our voices heard. The people of Flint, Michigan are trying to make their voices heard. The people of Newark are trying to make their voices heard. But it's really expensive to replace those pipes. It would, by the way, be really expensive to replace them in Western Monmouth also. But that wouldn't be the major consideration. But in Newark and Flint and the other places, it's really expensive. We want to help you, but, got to be fiscally conservative. Bribes blind the eyes of the discerning and upset the pleas of the just. How many times have we seen people languish in jail because they couldn't afford bail? They hadn't been convicted of anything. We're just starting now to take a look at this. There are people who have sat in jail for 2 years until a trial because they couldn't come up with $500 bail. Now, I guarantee you, for every person in this room, I don't know your checkbooks, it doesn't matter. If one of you was jailed, and it was $500 or $1,000 or $10,000 or $50,000 that was the bail, you would find the way to get the money. Because your loved one is not going to sit in jail for 2 years till they get around to a trial. We have people who sit in jail longer than the sentences would have been because they couldn't afford the bail money. Bribes blind the eyes of the discerning and upset the plea of the just. And then the next line goes on, one of the most famous in the entire Torah. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdof. Anyone recognize the word tirdof? Sound like something familiar? Like what? What? Rodeph, right. Tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Rodeph Torah, pursuers of knowledge. This is tzedek tirdof, pursue justice. And it was Rashi who asked the question, why does it say it twice? Why doesn't it say pursue justice? It says justice, justice shall you pursue. And Rashi's answer was that there's justice that's easy and there's justice that's hard. And we're commanded to pursue both. The easy call, make the easy call. By all means, make the easy call. Free the person who's unjustly imprisoned. Help the person who's unjustly suffering. But then there are the hard ones. Really hard ones. The ones that we're tempted to throw up our hands and say, I just can't. We Jews are commanded to do that one also. And these two are tied together. Because it's actually in our society easier for us to do justice for wealthy people. And it's harder to do justice for poor people. They don't live near us. They don't look like us. We're not sure how to help. How can I fix the entire court system? How can I fix the water in Flint, Michigan? Torah says, do not throw up your hands. Do not give up. Figure out how. And if you can't solve the whole problem, solve a little bit of the problem. This is the message I want to come back to now for the beginning of the month of Elul. If you can't solve the whole problem, solve a little bit of the problem. I ask each of us, nothing to be said out loud, think of what it is in your life that you want to fix. You may think it's impossible. You may say, I've said every year I was going to fix it. It never happened. I give up. If you can't fix it all, fix a little. Start it. Do the easy parts first and then start on the hard ones. Justice, justice shall you pursue. For others and for ourselves too. What do we want to make better? Right now, seriously, if you simply pick up your phone and text whatever the code number is to send $10 to the Red Cross to help the people that are in the Bahamas, do it. No, you're not going to fix the whole problem with your $10 contribution. But it's better than not giving a $10 contribution. If you can give more, give more. If there's another organization that helps in these things, and you believe in it, go, contribute. You could look and say, these organizations, they spend all their money on overhead and they don't really give things to the people. It's not true. It's not true. They do help. Have you seen the pictures of Abaco? Abaco Island? Oh my God. People who live there in mud shacks, they're gone. You and I cannot fix this whole thing. But maybe, if we start out with a little bit on that, or maybe if we contribute to the people who are trying to find justice for the people in Flint and Newark, maybe not only will we make them a little better, maybe we'll make ourselves a little better too. Because doing something teaches us that we can do something. When we start to think we're helpless, Torah comes along and says, look carefully. Keep your eyes open. Don't be blinded. And seek justice. For those who know, for those who don't know. For those who hear about, and those who'll never meet. Because when you do, the justice comes home. And you start to see that we have power we didn't know we had. This is the month of Elul. This is what this month does. It asks us to see beyond what we normally see, to remove the blinders, to see what's out there in the world. Do not be blinded by what is. Think instead about what could be. For the world and for yourself. For the first time this year, I get to wish you all a Shana Tova umatuka. Not a happy new year. It's not what we say. A good year, a sweet year for all of us. We continue on page 78. Please rise if you are able. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liyotzer bereshit, shelo asanu gigoye haratzot, velo samanu b'mishpachot hadama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגופי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום, והשיבותה אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד. Page 80, please be seated. And so, Adonai our God, we look to you, hoping soon to behold the splendor of your power revealed, a world free of idolatry and false gods, a world growing more perfect through divine governance, a world in which all human beings make known your name, while those who do evil turn instead toward you. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. So we are into September. Religious school is beginning this weekend. Things are picking up. It is late for the holidays, so it's still a couple of weeks until Slichot. Please remember, if you're going to come to our Slichot barbecue, it's free, it's open to everybody. Just please let the office know you're coming. You can call, you can do it online. We have more than 75 people already registered, so it's going to be a really nice evening. That's, I think, on the 21st. Okay? We also could use a couple of volunteers to help with serving, setting up, cleaning up, cooking, all that other stuff. There's information right here on the announcement sheet about how you can help. On Sunday, September 15th, we're going to be having an open community session here on what we can do about climate change. Congressman Frank Pallone and New Jersey Assemblyman Dan Benson are going to be here. They're the guest speakers for this. Again, it's free and open to everybody. And then there are group activities. You can bring children, grandchildren, whatever you'd like. Information also is on here. Also, our adult education classes are starting up. I'm teaching a course that I'm really, really excited about, and I invite you all to join us. We have an afternoon session on Mondays and an evening session on Thursdays. I've taught about prayer before, but this is going to be a course in prayer, not about prayer, but a course where we're going to do what basically is going to be a year-long laboratory, not black dog, where we're going to try to explore what it means to pray. And I've shared this with people. When I've asked adults, when I've asked my teenagers, who in your family prays regularly? Who do you know that prays regularly? Well over half of our congregation says no one. And I realized that when we say to you, come in and open the book to page whatever and let's start praying, I could well be asking you to speak in Swahili. Because if you don't have the experience of doing it, it's not that it comes naturally. So we're going to take a year and ask the really basic questions. Is there a God? Does God listen to prayer? Does God answer? How do we pray? Do we pray in English, Hebrew? Do we pray some other language? Do you need to pray from a prayer book? What do lamentations sound like? What kinds of prayers are there? And we're going to take a year. You'll come out of it at your own choice with a new experience of prayer. You'll come out of it perhaps with some prayers that you've written for things that you care about. It is very inexpensive for any temple member. I think it's $20 for the year. Really love to have you join us. So registration's online. Information is available out in the lobby. Let us know you're coming so I can have all the materials for you. I think there was something else, but I don't know what. Honey. Yes, right. We're nearing the end. If you want some of the TRT honey, and if you don't know what this is, trust me, check it out. It's really good. We have our own private beekeeper who has Jewish bees. And the honey is amazing. It really is. I think we ordered 8. I ordered. You did? Yeah, did you? Oh, good. I think I ordered 8 jars or something like that. We give it out to friends and family. Information's online. You can check in the newsletter. But trust me on this one, it's really good stuff. And fresh. Comes from all the way from Heightstown. So get that order in because they're closing that out pretty soon. And that's it. We turn to page 86. Before we join together in Kaddish, if there is anyone here this evening who is marking Shiva, the death of a loved one during the past week, I ask you please to rise and say their name aloud. If you are here to say Kaddish for Shloshim, for someone who died during the past 30 days, please rise and say their name aloud. And if you are here to say Kaddish for Yartzeit or for any other reason, please rise, and as I look at you, say their names aloud. Hamakom Yenachem Etchem Im Sha'ara Le'Tzion V'Yerushalayim. May God console you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. Ba'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon. U'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'la'almei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. Let perfect peace abound. Let there be abundant life for us and for all Israel. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, all Israel, and all who dwell on earth. And let us say, Amen. We continue with Kiddush, and now I will invite Tara and Julia Fuchs.
And there was evening and there was morning the 6th day. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the 7th day God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the 7th day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the 7th day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri kagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. And then you can come get candy for the last time. And for those of you under 13, we have candy, including for the bat mitzvah girl for the last time. It is tradition during the month of Elul to blow the shofar every day, to remind us to wake up, to remind us it's time to start doing this work, this holy work. So please turn to page 89. Let us ascend as we hear the call of community, the voice of return. Let us ascend as we feel the pull and power of tradition. Let us ascend toward forgiveness and peace of mind, toward heartfelt change and acts of repair. Let us ascend to the sound of shofar. Let us enter the gates of teshuvah. Reach deep into the sanctuary of the heart. Reach beyond to the infinite and eternal. Reach deep with every quiet breath. Reach beyond, summoned by ancient ringing blast of the shofar. 91. Baruch atah Adonai shomea truah. Blessed are you, Adonai, who hears the sounding of the shofar. Tekiah. Shvarim truah. Tekiah gedolah. To everybody, I wish you Shabbat Shalom. I wish you Shana Tova Umetuka, a good year, a sweet year. Shabbat Shalom.
time I've run into you.
Sorry. What's up?
No, I keep thinking I'm gonna run into you at Walmart. I was there this morning.
I'll stop there after I get out of here.
Yeah, you're open all night.
Big fish, you know, crazy place.
All right. I'm a tad bit stressed at the moment. Because nothing to be stressed about.
No.
It's all good stress.
Put you on the front tomorrow.
Absolutely.
You're a photographer coming in the morning? You have a photographer coming in the morning?
Yes.
Okay. That's a lot for you.
We had a
You
bit
don't
of,
take the tour.
we had a bit of a, I used to get a, no, a few weeks ago. We hired the same photographer. Okay.
With, I guess you can catch it from here.
Probably not. She can't catch it from standing next to her.
That happens to me. I had clean closets. The floors would shine. I mean, you know.
gives us, all the things that are in the box. She gives us, what's it called, scratch offs. Last couple of years, she gave us, gift cards to a sandwich place. I'm like, okay, I'm like, never up here to go visit this friggin' place, and I'm sure it's nice and all. But I just say thank you. I give them words, say everything. But,
Through the holidays and then,
and
it's
really,
gonna be a,
people have to rip that bread that good, huh?
believe it's gonna be all right, should be an easy to allocate here. Only doing Rosh Hashanah for like, what, 5 times?
No, they got, what, 6 total, I think, this year?
I don't count the kids.
I count it because it's still something that has to be set up. I always count it.
I don't count it because I don't come.
No, 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 no. I count it because we're here.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Well, kind of upset because when that initially came out, it was Sheldon Lowe and his wife.
Oh, the daughter.
She had, they almost, like, if they got cut out of the budget, it was like, it's like a cut out.
He's coming back.
He's like, no, they were both supposed to come back. We just need, at some point between now and the holidays, make it look like that card that we borrowed currently from the high school is ours, not theirs.
No, I'm just gonna bring it back and give it to him.
Oh,
We never